name is Katie. I'm a kidney donor, and I donated to my younger brother, Ryan. What I would want you to know if you're thinking about being a kidney donor is really just how easy it is. Ryan and I didn't even live in the same state at the time that we did the transplant, and we were able to do all of our preliminary testing to make sure we were a good match, the scans and preoperative kinds of things I needed to make sure that my kidneys were in great shape before I gave one away. I did all from where I lived. I went to visit him probably about 6 weeks before the surgery, and just for a long weekend to spend one day at the hospital doing some pre-op testing with his clinical team. But that was an easy visit, all coordinated really by his clinical care team as well, so I didn't have to do much of anything other than show up and get tested a little bit. All very painless and nothing to worry about. The surgery itself is quite simple. Go to sleep, wake up, they have a new kidney, they're in great shape, and you've got a couple weeks of recovery. But I was pretty active and in good shape before the surgery, and really a couple weeks later, I was pretty much back to normal. Not a lot of follow-up for me long term. It's really just annual kidney function tests, which most adults have anyway as part of their primary care evaluations each year. So it's really a pretty straightforward process. It's not complicated from the donor's perspective, and certainly you can see the impact immediately in the person that you donate to. My life really hasn't changed much at all. Our family's life has certainly changed. Ryan's health is fantastic many, many years later now. He has a beautiful family, two lovely boys, beautiful wife, a really booming business. So all things that perhaps wouldn't have happened if his health wasn't in great shape. But my life personally has not changed too much. I do a lot of endurance sports. I'm active, mountain biking and running and hiking and long distances and all that kind of stuff. And one kidney has not impaired any of that kind of thing. So if you're thinking about being a kidney donor, don't give it a second thought.
Hello, I'm Noel Histalis, and my son received my kidney. My son lost half his hearing at age 6 when he would sit arm's length from our TV with the volume cranked all the way up. It took us a few months and a few doctors to diagnose Alport. With my wife the Alport carrier and me having the same blood type as my son, we always assumed during the 12 or so subsequent years that I'd be the donor. My son's kidney function started declining in about his 17th year, and we knew it was time to firm up all our arrangements prior to his requiring dialysis. For a few weeks in late spring 2001, I tried to connect with my son's assigned transplant doctor. Finally hooked up with him in the first few days of July 2001. He had reviewed my MRI films and advised he saw issues with my kidneys and that I was unsuitable as a donor. I asked if he would speak with another doctor. He obstinately advised that he was the plumber engaged to install a kidney in my son, and no second opinion was appropriate. This made it clear that we needed to change our hospital relationship. My neighbor John, one of the foremost kidney and liver surgeons in our Chicago area, was drafted in the mid-90s from San Diego by my neighbor Richard, who headed surgical operations as well as the burn unit at another major Chicago area medical center. I discussed my experience with them, and we immediately transitioned. On the morning of July 4th, 2001, I picked up my MRI films from the old shop, brought them to John, who was wearing his muddy gloves from gardening, and held the films up to the sun. He saw polyps in my kidney but didn't seem concerned. John also mentioned that he didn't like the way my MRI films were taken and scheduled me for an additional non-MRI test 2 days later. The afternoon of my follow-up test, he called and gave me the green light to donate. He mentioned that about 45% of his patients' kidneys in the San Diego area had polyps, similar but different from the about 45% of those he sees in the Midwest, like mine. He surmised these polyps were environmentally caused. The air we breathe, the water we drink, the food we eat. Our transplant procedure was performed August 23, 2001. In the pre-op room early that morning, my nearly 19-year-old son seemed nervous. We were laying on gurneys opposite each other. Baseball's our favorite sport and we loved playing catch. So I started a game of phantom catch with him, holding up two fingers, tossing the phantom baseball for him to catch two-handed. We played catch until it was transplant time, and this put a smile on his face. I chose my surgery to be performed the old-fashioned way instead of laparoscopically, to lessen the risk of damage to my kidney. With that, I had a longer recovery, but was fully healed and felt normal in 6 months. This was when the less invasive procedure was just gaining traction. My CPA firm employer and clients were wonderfully supportive of our family, as was our extended family group and circle of friends. My son has religiously been taking his anti-rejection meds from day one, and now, 23 and a half years later, his kidney is still functioning well. His 50% hearing loss has remained constant, and his hearing aids are second nature to him. He was on his college tennis team and still plays tennis and softball recreationally. Once healed, I've felt normal. No restrictions, no ill effects. In fact, I've advised my doctors that I'm ready to donate my other kidney when my son needs it, but the medical community won't consider that. I'm seen by my urologist annually with a biennial ultrasound. One caveat, a few years ago, I developed a kidney stone. My urologist didn't wait and removed it, saying a blockage could be life-threatening to me having just one kidney. Would I encourage others to donate a kidney if they're in excellent health? A no-brainer, yes, but it's a personal decision. I had no reservations about doing this going in and have never regretted it since. Has this changed my life? Of course. The privilege of my son's receiving my kidney has formed a special bond between us.
Hi, I'm Michelle, and 11 months ago I donated one of my kidneys to my wonderful husband, Andre. He had his first transplant 28 years ago, so we're hoping that this new transplant will serve him for the rest of his life and we'll be able to spend our lives together, both being happy and healthy. As for me, apart from getting tired more easily, which is mostly my fault because I have not been exercising like I should be, I'm able to work more than full time and keep up with everyone just like I used to, and I'm still able to donate blood to the Red Cross, which I did just yesterday. So I would highly recommend to anyone who is able to donate a kidney and donate blood to the Red Cross. And I have to say, it's just an amazing, incredible feeling to not only save someone's life, but to make the quality of their life so much better. It's wonderful. I highly recommend it. Good luck.
My name is Mac Bonebreak. I am 24 years old and I'm a living kidney donor. In 2021, I donated my kidney to my younger brother Grant, who has Alport syndrome. At the time, it felt like an impossible task. It felt like everyone was watching me. It felt like the weight of the world was on my shoulders. I was watching my brother reject dialysis. He had gone into complete renal failure and we were out of options. Now, growing up, I always told my brother that I would be there. I would be the one that was going to donate my kidney when the time came, but it came earlier than I ever expected it to. And at 21 years old, I found myself with the biggest decision of my life. And while I made it in a split second because it was so important to me to do this and I knew that I wanted to do it, I had a tough time wrapping my head around the fact that at a certain point after I made that decision, I would go into an operating room not knowing with 100% confidence that I would come back. And while it is small, it's difficult to comprehend when it's your own life. But I'm so grateful now looking back that I know that I have someone in my life that I would be willing to die for, and it sounds scary, but I think that's the point. It's given me perspective and vibrancy in my life to be able to live through my brother now. I get to share in every single experience that he has, every new friend, every new place he sees, every new person he meets. He's 22 years old, in college, living an incredible life, and I'm so proud of him for taking this new opportunity. And I'm so incredibly grateful for the people that were able to help me comprehend this decision, for Alport Syndrome Foundation, for my family, for the other families that are so invested in Alport Syndrome Foundation to help me arrive at this conclusion that everything was going to be okay, and it was worth what I was doing. And I don't think I could have made a decision like that without the education from the doctors and the other patients who shared their stories with me. And so that's why I want to be a part of this organization, to be able to talk through with others who find themselves in the spot that I was in, feeling like they're drowning and not knowing whether or not that risk is worth it. And I think there are so many other people out there that would tell you the same thing that I am trying to articulate, which is that it is the best decision you could ever make with your life.